Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Wapa. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Gopala Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radha Ramana Hari, Govinda Jaya Jaya, Radhe Govinda Jaya, Radhe Govinda, 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 Radhe Govinda Jaya, Radhe Govinda. Oh, Radhe 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 Radhe, Radhe Govinda, Radhe 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 Radhe, Radhe Govinda. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Jaya Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori. Jaya Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori Jaya, Kishor Kishori. Oh, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jaya Subhadra. Jaya Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Gurudev. Nitai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bol. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajagacharya Ashtotara Shata Shishimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki. Prince Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki. Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki. Sri Vrindavam Mathura Dhama Ki. Sri Majapur Navadvit Dhama Ki. Purushottam Kshetra Sri Jagannath Puri Dhama Ki. Ganga Maji Jamuna Mai Ki. Bhakti Devi Shrimati Tulsi Maharani Ki. Their most beautiful Lordship Shishi Kishore Kishori Ki. Parama Karuna, their most merciful Lordship Shishi Gauranitai Ki. Their most merciful Lordship Sri Jagannath Sri Baladev Shrimati Subhadra Maharani Ki. Sri Harinam Sankirtan Jagya Ki. Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to the assembled devotees. Oh, glories to Shishiguru and Shigauranga. Sing the string of prayers. Okay, you sing.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Praladadayine. Hiranyakashipurvakshaha. Shila Satanka Nakalaye Ito Narsimha Parato Narsimha Yato Yato Yamito To Narsimha Ahir Narsimha Hridaye Narsimha Narasimha Madim Sharanam Prapadye Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakam Adhuta Shringam Dalita Hiranyakashipu Tanubringam Keshavadeta Narahari Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Jagadisha Hare Jaya Narsimha Dev, Narsimha Dev, Narsimha Dev, Jaya Narsimha Dev. Jaya Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj, Jaya Prahlad Maharaj. Nitai Gora Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gora Hari Bol.
Nishringa Bhagavan ki, Prahlad Maharaj ki, Nitai Gaura Premanandi. Hare Krishna, everybody. So on behalf of our beautiful presiding deities, Shishi Kishore Kishori, Srila Prabhupada, our temple president, Her Grace Hemangi Mataji, and we'd like to welcome you all that have come here to celebrate this most auspicious event for the disciples of His Holiness Romapada Swami, the Vyasa Puja celebration. So, welcome. And very, very short announcements before having His Holiness Romapada Swami addressing the class tonight. Prasadam will be served tonight downstairs, right after the class. And the program will start tomorrow. We have Mongolati at 4:30. And then the Bhagavatam class, or the class in the morning, will be given at 7:30 by Srila Romapada Swami. And also Prasadam breakfast will be taken tomorrow downstairs. So if you have any question, please find some of the devotees. You can ask me. And there is the organizers of the Vyasa Puja event. Also, we have schedules all over the temple if you need to actually check on the times. For those who are going to do service of Kirtan, I would like you come in contact with me, and then we can make sure that everybody knows what and when. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Thira Vanachadi Jamuna Thira Vanachadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Gopi Jana Balabha Girivardhari Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jasodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jamuna Thira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Vaishnavas Paramahamsa Parivrikacharya Astatara Srimad His Divine Grace C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Gaur Premanandi. Welcome everybody, especially those of you from some very far away places, and some are probably in airplanes still on their way. The golden rule. I thought of speaking on this topic for a number of reasons, and well, the most immediate reason is some experiences that I had in the past 48 hours before coming here to Chicago, and a little bit before that. So I have an interest, and I wish to pass on that interest to everybody in ISKCON, particularly everybody in North America, because there's some persons with us that are not from North America. But the importance of reaching the hearts and the minds of the Western population that makes up a large part of America. Look around the room, and how many non-resident Indians are there assembled here? Quite a few. It's quite a few. How many non-resident Indians are there in the room here? A few. Some of you have heard me say this before. No problem hearing it again and again. A or B? Srila Prabhupada came to America to create places of worship for the non-resident Indians in America. Or B. Prabhupada came to America to give Krishna consciousness to the people of America, non-resident Indians and others who are residents in America. A or B? B. Look around the room. How are we doing? The mission of our founder Acharya is to reach the hearts and the minds of everyone, and we're doing something using the vernacular of the day, the low-hanging fruit. We're doing all right. We certainly could be doing better. But what's the mission of our founder Acharya? How well are we connecting? So one of the messages during this time together is something many of you have heard before. I don't mind you hearing it again and again. This is a new year. Let us continue our initial efforts and think strategically, creatively, how we can reach the hearts and the minds of other than the non-resident Indians in America. Now, it's going to have to be the non-resident Indians that do that, just like Prabhupada started. He tried to start the Hare Krishna movement in India. Didn't go. He came to America. It took a while, and then it took off. And then from America to Europe, and then he took the American and European devotees to India, and then they got kick-started in India. And then the growth of the Hare Krishna, this temple here. Anyway, without all the details. There was a time when we didn't have congregations. Now it's largely congregational, which is very nice. But we also need to fulfill the mission of our founder Acharya. So before it was Americans reaching others, and now it's the non-resident Indians in America having to reach others. Otherwise, we're not fulfilling the mission, or we're doing something, but the primary mission is not on target. We need to realign ourselves with that mission. So this topic in part is to pass on that idea in a particular form, and some of the persons in this room know what the Golden Rule means, and some of you may not, because the Golden Rule is, at least those who are from a Christian background, they think they own the term, but it's not true. But they think they own the term. So this is to spiritualize that which they know. And what inspired, one of the things that inspired taking this topic is recently when passing through the Los Angeles airport, I was very surprised to see not just signs, but you know, the modern ones that they keep changing digitally, electronically, promoting this business, that business, the other business. Just like green helps to market something. It's a buzz. You know, green toothpaste, green toilet paper, you know, green anything, recyclable, green. So this Golden Rule is marketable because businesses were marketing themselves, and those digital signs that kept changing, it didn't use the exact language, do unto others, that you would have them, or you would have others do unto you. It's from the New Testament of the Bible, Luke, for those of you who like to read Bibles, and called the Golden Rule. But it's not just a Christian term. I invite you to do some research. You know, our Google guru knows everything, so you just ask him. And you go to Golden Rule, click, and one of the pages has this. It's like 16, 20 pages of what different traditions all around the world say on the Golden Rule. The Golden Rule is this one. And it's in the world. It's not just the Christian world. It's the world. Without going through the examples. You know, Sufism and Sikhism, and it's in the Quran, it's in the Torah, it's in the this, and it's in the that, it's in Confucius, it's in spiritual holy teachings of the world. Native American Indians and, you know, Siberians and Africans, and, you know, it's universal, and it's marketable because they're using it in LAX to promote a business. So for Western outreach, or reaching the hearts and the minds of the people of America, it's important to know something that's relatable to them, and it's, you know, let's say a value that they have, and it's something that, a value that we have, and we can share values with them. One of the persons in our audience, maybe more than one, has a particular liking, interest, sees importance in interfaith outreach. Now, the purpose of interfaith outreach is not so we have more people attending Mangalarti at 4:30 in the morning, or wearing tilak and a sari or a dhoti. The goal of interfaith is reaching the hearts and the minds, because those people are religious leaders, and religious leaders, when they hear the truth of disciplic succession, it moves their hearts and their minds. And you know what? I'll tell you what. They start to speak that message from the pulpit, or the place where speakers speak the message of their faith. The goal is to touch the hearts and the minds. And those people then become friends. More than friends, they become connected. I won't give anecdotes. There's a big stack of them that says it touches the hearts and the minds of those persons. I'll give one example, only one. I'll try to only give one. Anuttama. Some of you know Anuttama. He's a GBC member now for the Midwest region. And he, one of his main functions is communications, global communications minister. He's really into it. And one of the things that he does as a global communications minister is, for decades, he's been taking part in interfaith. And I'm not necessarily advocating that's the direction we need to go. I'm just using as an example that says one of the persons in this group asked, made a comment to him. I've been hearing you're a member of the Hare Krishna group, and you're always speaking about, in Christianity, we speak about God loves you. And you speak about loving God and serving God. I like that. I've been speaking that from the pulpit. Let us serve God. It's kind of like, this will date me, but John F. Kennedy, one of his famous sayings was, don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Nationalism. Don't ask what God can do for you. What can you do for God? He doesn't need anything. But love of God means you serve him lovingly. That's bhakti. That's the bhakti message. And the bhakti message is making its way into different faiths. It's not that a bhakti message isn't in those different faiths. Just something else happens instead. I'm going to give a couple more examples, but we'll stay with this one. The message of the Hare Krishna movement to the world that is relatable to the world. One of our youths in the Hare Krishna movement graduated from a high school and went to college. And when they graduated from college, they were the valedictorian of their class. I know several that in that category. And when she was asked to give the valedictorian speech, she asked me, what should be my message? Because I want to be relevant and relatable to the audience, but I also want to be, bearing Krishna's message. So I gave her this verse. This is from the prayers of the residents of Jambudweep. It's Prahlad Maharaj, in fact, praying to Lord Nrsingadev. And now, I don't know if she used the Sanskrit, Swasvasto Vishvasya. May there be good fortune throughout the universe. And may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of him. So that was her valedictorian message. I don't know how she embellished or augmented that message. It's like, peace and goodwill, good on earth to men, kind of saying. But it's not just notional, it's devotional, it's very specific. It's to the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna, the supreme transcendence. And when that connection with the supreme transcendence is there, the well-wishing for others will come as well. So if you're ever called upon, this is a hint. If in the future, maybe when you're 80 years old, you'll be asked to speak something in a public forum that's representing the message of the Hare Krishna movement, this is a nice verse. It's relevant and relatable to Western audiences. It's in keeping with the original theme here, the golden rule. The golden rule is specifically speaking about unto others, but the transcendental, because it could be just, I want to be good because it's good to be good. In other words, a little while ago I was attending a gathering, I remember very clearly, kind of a young Indian fellow with a fashionable little beard, wearing a shirt that said, good karma. Because that's another buzz, karma and good karma. So I asked him, why? And, I just looked at the shirt and I said, why? I didn't say, why good karma? It's good to do good karma. He understood what my question was. And where does good karma take you? He was Indian, so I could have a conversation with him like this. It'll take you to the good place. And how long will you stay in the good place? Have you read Bhagavad Gita? Chine punya marcha lokam vishan. After your piety, good karma is exhausted, you come back again to Detroit or Los Angeles or Chicago or Dallas or wherever you're from. You want that? Is there something beyond good karma? And he didn't know. Depending upon the person that you're with, touching the hearts and the minds of the Western audience, connect with something that they know, and then share that you can relate with what they know, with what you know, and then there's some connection, and then depending upon the person, you can take it another step. For example, I'm coaching a little bit, and I want to transfer the sense of urgency to you all that we need to do this. The non-resident Indians, devotees in America, need to reach the hearts and the minds of the others that are all around us. Please. So I was in this airplane ride from Los Angeles to Chicago, Southwest Airlines. You sit where you want, so I like aisle seats, so I was sitting in aisle seat. Somebody was in the window seat. And the plane took off. And after some time, he was very respectful. He wasn't like the yakety type of person, but he wanted to have a conversation. And, he asked, are you a monk? So that's how it started. And I teased him. I said, normally people ask me, are you a Buddhist monk? And they say, no, I'm not a Buddhist monk, I'm a Krishna monk. And they go, oh, what's a Krishna monk? Then I get to talk about Krishna. I told him just like that. And he said, oh, then tell me who is Krishna. Like right away. This, Joe something from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Probably most of you except Namaruchi have never even heard of the place. Namaruchi knows because after he got his degree at Penn State, he went and did some work at Tuscaloosa, Alabama. It's the home of University of Alabama. And the plane that I was on was half filled with people from Alabama because they had just been to the national championship football game and they lost. Their team lost. So they were like, our team lost. And it turns out that Joe, American college student age, had begun just looking online, didn't know any teachings, teachers, nothing, blank slate. Not a yoga studio person who already has a teacher with teachings and impersonalism up to here. He just was interested in meditation. And he asked me, do you know about Satadata meditation? Something I never heard of. And I don't even know if it's from anything other than somebody's creative imagination. Meditation. Some name. And no, I don't. So, do you do meditation? And it just went on. I was being very careful because I didn't want to overwhelm Bhakta Joe. We didn't even know he's a Bhakta yet, but so I just started speaking about sound. Yeah, I did this meditation, candle meditation, and that meditation, the other meditation. Of all the meditations, sound was most effective. And then of other sounds, I was doing different mantras, sound. And I found this Maha Mantra especially effective. And then I came to know about Bhagavad Gita. Joe, have you heard about Bhagavad Gita? I said, I'd never heard of it before. I said, I'll send you a copy. Give me your way to send it to you. And he then was describing his experience in meditation, how he really liked it. He said, it's really hard to put it in words, what I experienced. And I said, how about this? It's a space or a place of higher consciousness. He said, yeah. Now, some devotees in the room know when I go to China, that's the language I use, because they're not non-resident Indians. And we're in China, we can't use this other language. So the place of higher consciousness. In that place of higher consciousness, it feels like this. And it's minus that. But the problem is, how do you stay there? Because you do meditation, said, yeah. So, Joe has heard about sound, and he was asking, what's the difference between spiritual sound and material sound? We had some discussion, just on what science says, not what Bhagavad Gita says, because I've learned what science says. I mean, everybody knows if science says it's got to be true, right? Because science says. So there are things that science says. What is the difference between spiritual sound and material sound? I could share some of that with you, but that's not my point. My point is embracing, taking shelter of the mission of our founder Acharya, being sensitive to the other person, reaching out to the other person, and helping that other person feel that you're relevant, relatable, and then because in your heart of hearts is Krishna Bhakti, or at least the wish to have deeply awakened Krishna Bhakti, at least that much. We're sadhakas, that much. And we're sharing what's in our heart, but in a way that's palatable and appropriate for that audience. Not everybody can do that so nicely, but some of us need to do that. And little by little. Is Pratibahu here? No? Yes. He heard me say this, after 10 times out there in Naperville. And he met Dr. Jack. Can I speak a little? 18. American. He finished high school early. He's going to start college this month. And, he's got some concerns that mom and dad think Krishna consciousness is a cult. In India, mom and dad are concerned you're going to go take sannyas. Even if you're a lady, so don't get too into it. I mean, you know the whole story. But in America, it's a different picture. But he gets it. There's a lot of people that could get it if we just reached out and made it available in a palatable, relatable form. Now, our younger generation devotees are going to be able to do that more readily because they speak the same language as the younger generation people. Whatever color, body, or whatever your passport says or anything like that. It's easier. But it doesn't have to be because, I'm a dinosaur and it's a matter of having something in your heart that says this is important to our founder Acharya. And that's the place that you function from. So Bhakti Jack he's in the fast lane. He's eager. He's not, anything could happen. Experience says, young people, anything can happen. But right now, he's a sponge soaking everything in. He just needs he needs friendship, guidance, persons that can understand him, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of people out there. And those a lot of people out there are not in the room with us right now. And next year it'd be really nice. It's a challenge, if you wish, that by next year we have such people attending not just this function, but perhaps attending functions that are in their own little place, where it's relevant and relatable to them, their own space, that not non-resident Indians. Many of you attend. I'm going to be very, what can I say, direct. This past Memorial Day weekend event with Bir Krishna Maharaj speaking on, nonviolent communication, a very relevant and relatable topic for Western people. Very popular. So 2 groups of college students came, some from New England, some came all the way from Atlanta, and most of them were Western students, or at least non-resident Indian students. And the feedback they gave to the persons that were bringing them, this is an Indian thing. Well, I love Indian people, but when Western people come, what's their experience? Maybe I don't belong here, is what some people experience. Anyway, it's something that if it's in our heart to fulfill the mission of our founder Acharya, who very kindly gave us whatever it is that we have, let us give back to him exactly as he wants. I'm not saying this in a manner of since I was little boy and even now a big boy, I don't like motivation by guilt. So I'm not guilt tripping you. I don't like it. I'm demotivated. I heard that word. It's a popular word these days. I feel demotivated. In the corporate world, that's a term that's used. When somebody that's a supervisor that's demotivates his subordinates. I'm not doing that. I'm trying to encourage the thoughtfulness. Here's what Prabhupada said. This is from Malati, I wasn't there. But you know that this wonderful story that Bhaktisiddhanta sent two of his stalwart sannyasis with financial support from the Gaudiya Maths to England to establish Krishna consciousness, and they came back, nothing happened. Prabhupada sent 3 Western household couples to England, and kaboom, there was a Hare Krishna explosion in England. Of course, by Krishna's mercy, the Beatles and so forth and so on. But, you know, they had the mission in their heart. And then when Prabhupada came, first or second time, there were gatherings, and it was non-resident Indians in London. And Prabhupada attended the program, and then afterwards he sat them down and said, I didn't send you here to England to gather the non-resident Indians in England. Not like they shouldn't be devotees, but that wasn't his mission. He was very explicit and kind of intuitive, but also now in this case explicit. We're not doing something wrong. We're not doing all that we could be doing. That's the message. So let's stretch a little bit and do what we can be doing. One other contemporary example is in another city, I won't say where, they have somebody in their congregation that does interfaith. So the interfaith person in charge asked the temple president in that temple, could you give a message that would be universally suitable for all the people in our interfaith group? So they asked me, what would you recommend? I recommended this one. It's a nice one. The surprise is, Shri Shri Kishore Kishori Ki Jai, that he wrote back to the temple president saying, well, that was very nice, but whenever I hear about the message from the Krishna people, you speak about service to God and self-improvement. I saw the text, that was his language. Service to God and self-improvement. But I don't know if this is from your tradition or not, but that it resonates with being more inclusive with compassion to others. Now this verse is certainly compassion to others, but he cited a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Now where did he get it? It's not the BBT, because the translation that he gave is different than the BBT translation. But here's the translation he gave. One who sees the nature of the Supreme Lord in all living beings, and who sees all beings in the Lord, and the Lord as the capital S self, is on the highest level of devotion, a Bhagavatottama, an Uttama Bhagavata, topmost devotee. His interest, so he was expressing explicitly, his interest was to see to the welfare of others. This love of God notion is a nice notion, but seeing the well-being of others is what he wanted. So we have such examples. I'm going to give 2 of them right from the Bhagavatam. Some of you may know when Krishna returned from Vrindavan to Mathura, he was brought by chariot by Akrura, And as he entered into Mathura one by one, he received garments. He received, from Kubja, he received fragrances and sandalwood paste. From a weaver, he received ornaments. And then he met Sudama, the florist. And there's a wonderful description from Garga Samhita. I'll say it quickly. Florists are always interested in getting really good flowers. And he heard they have really nice flowers in Vrindavan. He's from Mathura, and Vrindavan and Mathura are not so far away. So he ventured into Vrindavan, searching for places where he could find flowers. And one day, from a distance, he saw Krishna. And he was stunned. And when he saw Krishna and was stunned, he couldn't get Krishna off his mind. Not like he wanted to get, but Krishna stayed in his mind. And so he often went back to gather flowers in Vrindavan. Where is Krishna? Will I see Krishna again? So he became a Krishna bhakta in search of flowers. And he intuitively understood Krishna will fulfill my desire to see him again. And sure enough, Krishna came right to his door with Balaram and some cowherds, seeking, without even Krishna saying. The florist spoke to Krishna, described his appreciation for Krishna and Balaram, and he knew what Krishna wanted, and so he offered this most fragrant garland to Krishna and Balaram. And Krishna was so pleased. So Krishna said, I've come to your door because you please me so much by your devotion. You can ask from me anything you like. Now there's some places like that in the Bhagavatam. Lord Nrsingadev asked Prahlad, anything you like, it's yours. So here's what the florist asked for. He asked for unshakable devotion for Krishna. There's a verse, this is directly quoting from the Bhagavatam. He also asked for friendship with his devotees, but he also requested transcendental compassion for all living beings. So any one of those, you know, what the goal is number one. But number one is not minus number two, and 1 and 2 are not minus number 3. The transcendental perspective on the golden rule, it's not just doing unto others. The transcendental perspective is unlimited devotion to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You'll hear some more on this as we go along this weekend. And almost the same, this is the 10th canto, back in the 1st canto, after we hear all these wonderful things about Maharaj Parikshit and his qualities as a person from his birth, chapter 12, and so forth and so on, all the way up to chapter 18, he gets cursed by the son of a Brahmana. All of that is, you know, Krishna and, Maharaj Parikshit and his associates, the Pandavas, etc. So when he's cursed, he goes to the side of the holy river, the Ganges, in taking off his royal garments and his crown and turning everything over to his son, the next king, Janamejaya. And he invites all the sages to come and advise him. So this shows Maharaj Parikshit instructing him. But before Maharaj Parikshit came, he spoke to the sages, the holy people that had assembled there. I pray that if I should again take my birth in the material world, I will have complete attachment to the unlimited Lord Krishna, association with his devotees, and friendly relations with all living beings. So the Vaishnava perspective on the golden rule is not just number 3, but number 1 and number 2. And they're not just number 1 and number 2 without number 3. We don't put to the side acts of kindness for others. It's core to our life as Vaisnavas. But when we do so, it's with the purpose of pleasing Krishna, because pleasing Krishna is everything. So that service to Krishna is essential, and the compassion for all living beings is essential. And the best service we can do to others, your best friend or your best friends are, according to Ramananda Roy, those who remind you of Krishna. Those are your best friends. Those are your best friends. And if you want to be the best friend of others, remind them of Krishna. But when you remind them of Krishna, maybe like Bhakta Joe, where you just start with meditation through sound, along with his interest in meditation. And then Krishna's arrangement, there are some devotees in Tuscaloosa. Hey, so I put the devotees in Tuscaloosa in touch with Bhakta Joe, who doesn't even know he's a Bhakta yet. But, they'll help him. And, I coached them a little bit. This is what he knows. Take it slow. And, they're non-resident Indian grad students at the University of Alabama. Take it slow, Prabhu, because he doesn't know anything. So let's see what happens. But at least, there's a beginning, and he'll get a Bhagavad Gita, and he'll get a set of beads, and, let's see where it goes. So we have to be similarly, if your antenna is up, if you're desiring, there's a biblical saying, another one, seek and ye shall find. Have you heard that one before? If you're looking for something, you're more likely to find it than if you're not looking for that something. If you're looking for that something, doors will open that you didn't even know existed, and through the door comes what you were looking for. And if you weren't looking for it, you wouldn't see the door, and it wouldn't come through the door. It's Krishna reciprocating with the desire of his devotee. So if we keep the desire of our founder Acharya in the center of our heart, Krishna will send you opportunities that you didn't even know existed before. Just hold it in your heart, calmly and quietly, and don't do too much when it comes. Don't tell Bhakta Joe too much, because you might run the other way. These people are fanatics. Or I don't understand their language and terminology, it's too much. So keep it really simple. Just hold their hand and find out what step they're comfortable taking, and take that one little step with them. And if they want to run too fast, you might want to say, slow down a little bit. Don't just, let's go one step at a time. Make sure we understand what step 1 is before you go to step 10. And so forth. One other little example, and I'm done for this evening. This is another example of Western outreach, reaching the hearts and the minds of Western people. This term mindfulness, it's another marketable buzz out there. So learn about it. Learn about it in a way that can be relevant and relatable to people that don't know Bhagavad Gita, they don't know Krishna, they don't know a lot of things. They, even in terms of mindfulness, they have a very interesting idea of what mindfulness is. The mindful manager. Anyway, learn about it so that you can speak something relevant, relatable to them, and then help them on the interest that they may have in mindfulness. A presentation that I've made many times in colleges, where they don't know nothing about nothing, but they've heard mindfulness, and they're interested to learn the art of mindfulness. The principle is know your audience, be an instrument of our founder Acharya's will, his mission. What's important to them? What's meaningful to them? Find out what's, just like this thing at LAX. I was bowled over. It was like every fourth image that kept changing with this digital thing was something about the golden rule. That's marketing. I mean, those people know what they're doing. What sells their business product is the golden rule. So people like it. Their studies tell them people like it. They can relate to it. Find out what's meaningful to others and give support to that which is meaningful to others, and carefully, knowing your audience well, one by one is probably best than large groups of people. One by one relationship, a little step and a little step. And it's not like you keep Krishna in a box and then all of a sudden he comes out of a box, because you're a devotee. But you use language that's relevant and relatable to them. You know what's in your heart. And they get close to your heart and they find Krishna. Okay, so any discussion? Do we have a portable microphone? Oh, you do. Just put up your hand if you'd like to contribute to this discussion.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you very much. My question is related to a couple that, they were in book distribution, and I think they were from Christian faith. So they were just going door to door and just wanted to distribute some books, and they wanted us to visit.
Buy their books.
Pardon me?
They wanted you to buy their books.
Yes.
Yeah.
And be in the church, in the program. So, and they stayed there with us on our door for about 25-30 minutes, and we were talking. And so I was trying to bring commonality between their faith and mine. But every time I tried to do that, they were kind of trying to tell me that, see, both of us cannot be right. Either you have to be right or I'll be right. So in such situations, what should be the way forward?
Offer them prasadam and...
Okay.
The interest of a person, when you see a person is like that, you're a target for converting. That's how some persons are not like that. Some persons are like that. You're a target to be changed from that-ism to this-ism. That's their goal. And if that's their goal, stubborn, then there's not much to talk about. They're not being respectful. You're a target. So you offer them some prasadam, they'll probably say no. And okay. Well, whatever, you make some polite excuse that says, I'm going to close the door now.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So when speaking to a Western audience in the temple or outside during the book distribution, how much is the language we should use where, like true Krishna conscious language, or toning down and use the word God, like when Prabhupada was trying to name ISKCON, Prabhupada says, no, it could be Krishna conscious, not God consciousness.
Well, it depends on the person, how much language. And these days, for Western audiences at least, generally speaking, the God word makes people close the door. or close their mind, or close their heart. Just the God word. So you have to find some other words. But if you find the person is not like that, then you can use the God word. But Krishna, they don't know who Krishna is. They don't know who Krishna is. A historical person, a saint, or they have no idea who Krishna is. So it's more a matter of finding out what, as I said, what their interest is, especially so with book distribution, but in a short period of time, intuitive devotees can understand somebody likes this. And then you help them understand how the book will help them with this, the interest they have. And it's not a stretch of the imagination, it's a fact. So the art is to find out what their interest is. And so sometimes you can just ask some generic questions. Book distributors know, I don't need to do a book distribution class right now. Book distributors know, and there's training to help you understand what are the questions that they may ask. What's important to them. And this book will help you with that which is important to you. There's regular coaching available for book distributors to learn the art of connecting quickly, because when you're on book distribution, generally you don't have that much time per person. Generally, most people won't stand there for 25, 30 minutes unless they want to convert you. Yes?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, let me see if I can articulate my question in a way you can understand. When you are urging somebody like me who is a non-resident Indian, I feel a culture plays a lot in connecting with people.
Yes.
So for a Western, especially an American in today's society, what is it that attracts them? Because as soon as they see that you belong to a religious group or something, most of the time the antennas are on and they're cautious. So what are they looking that kind of attracts them to even have a conversation? Because when I joke or I say something to an Indian devotee, because I come from that background, it's like a joke. But same thing when I've said or done with people coming from different culture, it's a sensitive issue. So the nuances of how to interact,
aside from nationality, age is another really big differential. And it's really hard to say in generalities, where to begin a dialogue. For me, it's pretty easy. I'm wearing my flag. I'm dressed in it. So people ask me. And some people just ask out of curiosity. It's really clear. It's just out of curiosity. They don't really want to go anywhere with it. They're just have an itch and they want to scratch it. Are you with a religious organization? I start to chuckle and think of saying, well, it's not Halloween. But I don't say that. I've thought of it more than once, but It's similar to the book distribution question. It's not a cookie cutter answer so what is somebody interested in? I mean, are you vegetarian? Do you do some type of yoga or meditation? Very open-ended. What are your values? I mean, inquire a lot, that you're interested in them, not just like to hook on something that's in them, but because you're interested in them. And it can even be as something as, you know, as worldly as how they're dressed. And it starts a conversation. And with the conversation, then you find something out about what you know, the student. Because I travel a lot and meet people all the time. And sometimes they don't even take heed at all that I'm in a dhoti and a shaved head and tilak. That tells me something. But you know, some people are just curious. And then some people want to go more deeply. So you just flow with whatever their interest is. Because minimally, there's an impression they're making of the whole Hare Krishna movement from that 3-minute, 5-minute exchange. They're judging everybody else based upon those 3-5 minutes of conversation. That's an important function, that they feel, here's a warm person. They're not rigid, they have a sense of humor. I mean, I had a kid come up and stand right in front of me and said, "You're funny." I like you have a good sense of humor, kid. So you're cool. So at least be warm, and then if they want to open, people that have a little modest degree of social skill can understand somebody has some social, warmth and some exchange, and you find out. Where's the microphone? Oh, okay.
Guru Maharaj, you encouraged us to learn about mindfulness, and within the yoga realm, mindful practice is, big part of the journey.
Yeah.
And yet, I do not know where to go within our devotional teachings to go to the 201 or 301 level of mindfulness. Do you have any recommendation for me?
Depends on your audiences. Some people don't want to go there. So, generally speaking, it's good to have a base of people that, there's somebody else I know that does a cooking class. Vegetarian cooking class. It's 100% American. Large cooking class. And they don't want to go anywhere. They like the person. They know the person's a devotee. They don't want to go anywhere. They like the person, they like the cooking, they like the association together. They're kind of they don't want to go to 201. And, selectively they brought them to the temple after some number of months just to see, and they see, and, they smile, and they don't want to go anywhere. So if people don't want to go anywhere, you can't, but if you have a base, then somewhere along the line, there's going to be somebody that wants to go somewhere, and then you selectively help them according to their interest go to the next level. It can just be on a one-on-one exchange, not necessarily, the group. Depends on if they want to take the next step, and a lot of it has to do with the relationship. In one university, it was keeping at a certain level for a long time. There was a changeover in leadership of that university, and it really picked up. People started chanting japa. So it's the relationship. It's not necessarily the venue. The audience. It's a strength of relationship, and that's my experience anyways.
I feel like I've not been clear about my question. I'm looking for further training in mindfulness.
You want?
Yes.
Oh.
From a devotional perspective, where can I go?
Oh.
Because in the yoga realm, I deal with mindfulness. I thought you were
saying, how do I take the audience to the next level?
Well, that's the purpose. because, you know, within the yoga realm, mindfulness is so important. And yet, you know, I know books on mindfulness, and
No.
but I'm looking for devotional.
I would suggest is just your personal journey into mantra meditation. Sound. Mindfulness through sound. And you become experienced internally, and externally have tools that can help convince you and to assist others in they're taking the journey to 201. What are tools that will help a person that doesn't have faith in transcendental sound to go to transcendental sound instead of just mindfulness? Go from impersonalism to personalism. And, you know, what are tools that will help? So you do that yourself. So I don't know of any course you can take for, you know, mindfulness 201 for a devotee, other than what I just said, personal journey. And so now up front, raise your hand.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I was thinking, you know, just a couple of days ago I was reading, you know, in Canto 1, Chapter 3, it was talking about like an incarnation of Krishna as a fish to protect a family from like the flood that was happening on the earth, right? So, and then other times I've read things about like, you know, this kid kept going to like, found Krishna in the forest, and he gave him this cup of yogurt that like when he poured it, it just kept flowing. Like when he brought it to class as an offering, and when he poured it, it kept. So in many ways, I've found like connections that seem very similar to stories in the Christian Bible.
Sure.
And so in my mind, this is how I connect.
Yeah.
Because I come from a Christian background. And so I'm asking, is it wrong to talk to other people that I know, black devotees, black people about these like connections that I find that seem very similar? Like, is it wrong to compare the Vedas to stories that in the Christian Bible, or Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like to Jesus Christ, in a sense? That's how I saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for a while.
Well, I would recommend that you be cautious, not in sharing as much as, you know, what's the source of your making the connection between this and that? In other words, that which inspires born of speculation doesn't carry the same spiritual potency as that which you hear in disciplic succession.
Well, when I was reading that story just a couple days ago, I wasn't comparing it like speculation. It just made me feel good to see some like relation.
Okay. If that's the extent of it, no problem. It didn't change what I said.
Yeah, but when talking to other people, I'm not sure if they're speculating.
Well, you probably are, but that's okay.
I just see it as
because
God
all
is
that you're
all,
doing,
right?
all that you're doing is you're sharing your experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's warm and personal.
Yeah.
I feel good, and then they can say, you know, I feel not good.
Mm.
No, but you're feeling good, and you're sharing you're feeling good, and I'm feeling good because this reminds me of that. I see it. I sense a connection between this and that. It's part of what. It's part of the same message, you know. This
right.
mindfulness or anything else. The golden rule. Oh, that's something I accept. Now I'm finding it over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like even the story of Queen Kunti and the baby in the water, and like Moses. You know, I find so many similarities that's what kind of drew me in, is the similarities.
Fine.
Yeah.
And share that Not that like that's the absolute truth.
Right, right, yeah.
That's the distinction.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel comfortable. I feel like connected. I feel
Right.
warm and fuzzy. I feel good about this. You're not making a statement, this is equal to that,
Yeah.
and they're the same thing. Just describing a feeling.
Mm.
Fine? Someone in the back?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Maharaj. I was able to make friendship with two ladies. One was American and one was Japanese. So they used to come to my house. They were very happy to sit in our living room, and I observed them. They were constantly watching the deities and they felt very happy. They happily ate the prasadam, but they were always very alert when not to talk about the religion.
Not to talk about?
Religion.
Okay.
So somehow things, although I am still friends with them, but for last 2 years I had no time to connect with them, to invite them, but things did not move on after that. They came many times, but they did not try to discuss about the philosophy or anything.
Well, you're asking a similar question to the other questions, and my response is, you can't make what I thought was Sri Radhika's question. You can't bring somebody to 201 that doesn't want to even go to 101. They like you, and that's nice. So let them continue to like you. Find other people that want to go the next step. You continue friendship, no problem. And don't try to get them to go to 101 or 201 because they don't want to go. Just, maintain a friendship.
Sure.
And look for people that want, so that's just, keep a base. So well.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, you're encouraging us individually to reach out. And we're thinking also institutionally, how can we modify our program to also be more inviting or effective in one sense? And without compromising also, because in one sense, our programs is very good to take care of our Indian community. So without compromising that, how can we also make our program relevant for Western audiences, institutionally?
Well, that's a big question. And my answer will go back to the preliminary. Starts on an individual basis before it goes to the institutional. It has to start on the individual basis. If there are some individuals here, and there are some, not if, there are some individuals here, and those individuals here that resonate with the message, they'll find a way. And it may be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. It could be any number of different things. But they'll find a way. And one of the things, one of the items that is essential is relationship. And it may very well be that a gathering place that's comfortable for them, just like, we have some of our Russian devotees, they like coming to the temple, but they especially like their association together. Fantastic. And there was, without going further, how many Spanish people are there in this neighborhood? How many Spanish people are there in Chicago? How many black people are there in Chicago? How many Italian people are in Chicago? How many Russian people are in Chicago? How many Chinese people? And how many of those people are we reaching? So It may be that they need to have gatherings in their group. And just have gatherings in their group and have gatherings with them where you're relevant and relatable to what they're interested in. Institutionally. Be very personal and personable. And then different persons are going to be comfortable in different ways. And you find those ways because you're interested in fulfilling the mission of our founder Acharya on an individual basis. That's how we can move forward from where we are. We're not stuck. We just have to be creative and mindful. And, help one another. Prasadam. I was waiting for you.
Thank you, Maharaj. Regarding Suval's question, yesterday I spoke with the coordinator of domestic violence at Centro Romero, a community center. We gave 3 meditation workshops to victims of domestic violence, and they want to continue and be part of, they want us to be part of their program for this year. I spoke yesterday with Patricia, and she said that she's going to send me the possible dates that we can participate, and that is a beginning. That is a really important beginning because these women are really, really interested into participating in our workshop. So there you go.
Individually, that's how the institution will move. Up front, and I think we'll end with this. Could you raise your hand again so he knows? Could you put your hand up? Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Few years ago, you, under your leadership, organized a Western outreach seminar in this temple.
Yes.
I was fortunate to attend that one, and that was very inspiring. I think you formed different groups and committees, and you were expecting some outcomes.
Yeah.
And
it fizzled like usual.
Okay. So I just wanted to know, after that, was there similar effort in different places?
I followed up with the leaders of those groups, and the leaders of those groups reported back the moment faded over time and people got busy doing other things. Now, and that's as far as the groups are concerned, but some persons, the good news is, some persons took what they received here and they implemented it in their own ways, without giving examples. So it didn't happen on a group level, it happened, Subal, it happened on an individual level. Some persons became inspired and they felt, now I have some tools, and they took those tools and they used those tools. It didn't happen on a group level, it happened on an individual level. And now it's, one of those individuals is being invited to multiple temples to show them how to do that in their temple, in a specific Western outreach. Because they're very successful. Okay, we'll end there. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.